Hello everyone, welcome to the kind of weekly purple penny coin video. Kind of weekly because last week we had a week off because it was a long weekend here in Adelaide, and Monday was not a working day, so Catherine and I decided not to work. So this is the 12th one of these that we've done this year, and we've been doing these for about the last 4 years. The shop is here in Mawson Lakes is coming up to its 5th birthday. It's hard to believe it's been almost 5 years already that we've been doing this for. And if you're just wondering what the shop is, it's called the Purple Penny. We're a small coin and banknote and collectibles dealer. We buy and sell second-hand coins, banknotes and collectibles. We're also an authorised distributor for the Royal Australian Mint. So we sell new things from the Royal Australian Mint. We also sell a range of accessories and things like that. If you're not here in Adelaide and you can't come in for a visit, then you can look at our website on thepurplepenny.com. There's always plenty of interesting stuff appearing up there. So I hope everyone had a good Easter break. I certainly got a little bit of hobby stuff done, researched a few of my identity discs that I've had sitting around for a while. And I hope you had a good time too, and hope everyone had a safe Easter weekend as well. Just say a few hellos here. Hello Greg, Justin, Gwen, Peter, Ogie, Ted, another Peter, Michelle, Bevan, Lynn, Jay, Donna, Daryl and Pal. Hello everyone. Right, let's jump into the news. Of course, there was a big release last week, which we'll talk about in a minute, but first of all we'll jump into our weekly 35th anniversary $2 set graph here. So thank you to Peter for supplying us with this graph. So there's been about 53 sales of 2023 $2 anniversary sets in the last 2 weeks on eBay, and a couple of those sold for under release price. So they sold for about $229 or thereabouts. So that line on that graph continues its inevitable slide downwards. Now you might have been watching morning TV this morning. We happened to have the TV on this morning, which we never do. And on Sunrise there was mention of coins. You don't see coins on the TV very often, but they were talking about 2 error coins that are appearing in the next Nobles auction. There's a 1978 50-cent piece struck on a 20-cent blank, and a 1994 10-cent piece struck on a 5-cent blank. And estimate on the 50-cent is $1,500. Estimate on the 10-cent is $1,000, and in my opinion those estimates are probably fairly okay, probably on the ball there. I did a bit of googling around this morning and found one online news source had written quite a good article actually about these coins. I'd consulted with Joel Candia, who you would know from the History of Money on TikTok. Asked Joel some questions about these coins, how they might have happened. He had a pretty good explanation for how they might have happened. Basically, blank contamination is the main reason that this sort of thing happens. And they asked him, of course, being the media, they asked him some questions about values and collecting coins as investments, and of course whether we should all race off home and look through our change to see if we've got one of these errors in our change at home. Joel said with regards to coin values that he feels that coin values across the country are down from their peak in late 2022 by about 30 or 40%. Is that right? Well, it's probably not too far off the mark. Peter Andrews, who writes Independent Coin News, suggested that $2 prices were down about 20% in the last year. So 30 to 40% in the last 18 months probably doesn't sound unreasonable. The other question that he got asked was, should we go home and immediately look through our change for these items? And of course, the answer to that is a resounding no. And Joel put it probably better than I did. He said that you shouldn't bother going home to look because the chances are less than 1 in a million and you'd be better off playing the lotto. If anything, I'd say your chances of finding a wrong planchet error in your money box at home are far less than 1 in a million. Far less than 1 in a million. Anaconda had a release of coins, so the Mint is finding more and more organisations to team up with to distribute coins for them. Anaconda are a outdoor clothing and equipment retailer, and they chose to team up with the Mint and New South Wales Rugby League National Rugby League to release 2 coloured $2 coins and a tube of dollar coins and an album. The tube of dollar coins contained a team coin for each of the NRL teams. I believe there's 17 coin teams in the NRL. I wouldn't know. And the $2 coins were available through the tills at Anaconda stores. These items, I think the tubes and folders were available directly from the Mint. We were not given an allocation, so they weren't available through us. And you could also buy the 17 team cards on team coins on cards, so quite similar to the AFL coin release that happened last year. I guess the interesting thing is the choice of Anaconda as a partner for this sort of thing, because you wouldn't say that they have hundreds and hundreds of retail outlets around the country. I'm not sure how much cash business they do, but the reports that I've heard, and certainly our experience, is that the people behind the counter were very friendly and quite happy to hand out the coins in change, and I think the whole thing went quite smoothly. I did hear some news today about an Anaconda store in Victoria that's sick of the whole thing and basically gave out every last coloured $2 coin they had to one person that asked for them. I guess with the less broad popularity of the NRL, I mean, it's not very widely followed in South Australia and Western Australia and Victoria. Perhaps they weren't selling as quickly as they were in New South Wales and Queensland. So interesting release there. Of course, they are available in bags. They came out in bags, security bags, in jumbo bags. Those are available on social media and eBay, but not available via retailers like us. Just read a couple of comments here. Hello Ray, hello Adam, hello Steve, hello Nelson, hello Samantha and Patrick and Philip, Charlie, Paul, Rick, Brett, and everyone else. If I've missed anyone, I do apologise for that. Just regards to the Anaconda release, Ted says some Anaconda stores were imposing really tight rules. Others were saying, how many do you want? Steve saying he'll drop off 2 each of the coloured coins to us at the shop. We got some, Steve. We went to Anaconda twice. Catherine went there and bought a jumper, and I went there yesterday and bought a shirt, I think. I can't remember exactly what I bought, and we got some through the till there. They were very good, so congratulations to Anaconda. Anaconda's been advertising their $2 releases on free to air on Channel 7. Yep, that's thanks, Paul, for sharing that one with us. And Adam says he doesn't know anyone who really goes there. The chances are people that do would most likely use Do Card. Yeah, so that's interesting. I wonder how many low price things are available on Anaconda. Or do you have to go in there and buy a jumper or a t-shirt or something to get these coins? It's hard to know. Right, so we'll just jump to the next item in the news. So there is a RAM release this Thursday. 5-cent rolls. Total mintage 11,250. There's a premium and a non-premium roll again. Premium roll is head tail and has a metallic sticker on it. The non-premium rolls can be head or tail and do not have the sticker on it. $2 roll prices are $15. The premium rolls are $15. The non-premium rolls are $12.50. They're available via the EQL ballot system again. So that's going to be probably the best way of getting hold of them. We did get a very small allocation, but we're not taking any interest in them, and we almost certainly won't have any available on release day. What's this, Catherine? Oh, here we go. I think
Open them.
yeah, no, I'm not allowed to open them. The 5-cent rolls must have just arrived via the courier just then. So there's the 5-cent non-premium rolls in a box, and there's the 5-cent premium rolls in a box. So they've just arrived just then. They'll be available from 8 o'clock Adelaide time on Thursday, and EQL is happening via on Wednesday, I believe. The Mint still isn't combining shipping on those, so just be aware of that, and just be aware that the Mint is delaying the shipping on those items as well, so it will be probably a few weeks before you get them if you do win the ballot. Peter says he bought 2 Kit Kats and got the coin. There you go, you can buy Kit Kats at Anaconda. Today I learnt. Jay says some of us still haven't got our orders from the last RAM release. Well, Jay, they are delaying the orders, and they've been quite upfront about that they are delaying the orders. I've got my suspicions about why they're doing that. I think it's to take the heat out of the market and prevent resellers from putting them up on eBay as soon as they get them, and I feel like it's working. If that's what they're doing, it's working well. Aaron says, is it 11,250 rolls? I believe so, Aaron. That's the information that I have. It's 11,250 rolls. Right. I guess we might just jump into something else. I might skip over that particular thing. I did find an interesting resource this morning. It's a collaborative effort between the British Museum, the British Numismatic Society, and the British Ancient Coin Society. So they've created an organisation called the Money and Metals Network. It's free to become a member of that association. It's to promote the knowledge of coins and banknotes in England, with a specific focus on items that are in the British Museum's collection. And they've got a very nice website. The website is warwick.ac.uk. I'll put up a slide in a minute with a link to that. And they're holding semi-regular free talks via Teams, presented by subject matter experts. And those free talks you can attend them live. It is the middle of the day in England, which I guess is approaching midnight here in Australia, but they have a archive of the talks on their website too. So I'll just pop up the slide so you can see the details of that. There's the details there. I watched one of the talks and it was pretty good, and it's free, and it was quite comprehensive and quite lengthy. There's the URL there. You can just Google Money and Metals Network. Seems to be a fairly new thing. It's only been around for a few months, and great free resource, really interesting subject matter experts, and an opportunity to see a presentation on coins and banknotes with a focus on what's going on in the UK. So do get involved with that and go and take a look. Next item in the news is our favourite country, a country that I love talking about so much, Zimbabwe, and the troubles that they're going through. So Zimbabwe has announced a release of a new currency in the last few days. So they're releasing a new series of banknotes, and for the first time in a long time they're releasing coins. So the current currency, the Zimbabwe dollar, has lost 75% of its value in the last 3 months. Inflation is standing at about somewhere between 55 and 80% a year in Zimbabwe. So what the Zimbabwe government has decided to do is call in all the old Zimbabwe dollars. They've got 3 weeks to do that, and they're issuing a new currency which they're calling the ZiG, which is Zimbabwe gold. It's a gold-based currency. The idea being that perhaps the Zimbabwe government has $100 billion worth of gold in vaults, and they will only issue $100 billion worth of coins and banknotes. In the past, Zimbabwe governments have continued to print banknotes like they are wallpaper, which has just made the inflation crisis worse. So this time the government has assured, and I put that there in double quotes because often the Zimbabwe government doesn't do what they say, they have assured that the new notes and coins will not be overprinted. Currently, US currency accounts for 85% of transactions in Zimbabwe, and the coins are being released because there is a critical shortage of small change in Zimbabwe, and many shops and merchants are actually handing out other things in lieu of coins because they don't have any coins. So you could go and buy your carton of milk and your loaf of bread with your 10 Zimbabwe dollars, and the shopkeeper will give you 2 pence and a lolly as change in lieu of coins because they don't have any. So shows you there what a crisis that country is in if they can't even give you change for what you buy. So in the next 3 weeks those new notes will be released, and as I said, they are going to be a gold backed currency, which is one of the very few countries in the world that still is on the gold standard. Now I thought what we'd do is talk about what's been going on here in the shop, because the last 2 or 3 weeks has been quite busy here in the shop, and we've had lots of things coming and going. For example, gold, of course. If you've been watching the gold price, gold has been hitting all-time highs almost every day for the last 9 or 10 days. So for example, before Easter we did really a whole week's worth of business in 2 days, because of course we were closed on Easter Friday and Saturday, and it was quite frantic in here. And then when we came back from Easter, the Wednesday that we came back we did a whole week's worth of business in a day, and most of that was gold and silver, people bringing in the gold and silver. Now, to give you an idea of how gold has changed, it was only about a month ago that it was $3,200 an ounce, and now it's over $35.50 an ounce. That's Australian dollars, of course. Silver seems to have been dragged up along with that, coming from about $36 an ounce to almost $42 an ounce. So that's about a 15% rise in the silver price. And as a consequence of that, we tend to see a big surge in not only people selling gold and silver, but people buying gold and silver, especially if it gets on the news. So on Wednesday we bought a really nice nugget, and it was mounted, it was a 30-gram nugget mounted onto a little suspension thing, I guess, and a 14-carat gold chain, because of course we have an XRF here, an X-ray fluorescence gun, to test gold, so we can test the caratage and things like that for these items. So we're quite happy to buy gold nuggets when they come in here, and we do pay a premium for them. We don't pay gold price for them, we do pay over spot price for good nuggets. So here's the nugget that we bought on Wednesday. It was on a beautiful chain with a nice suspension, and you can see there it's about as long as the top knuckle of Catherine's thumb. And it was a great nugget because, oh, what's going on? My picture's disappeared. Hang on a second. I do apologise. I think my network just dropped out there quickly. All right. Hopefully you can see that. So it's a 30-gram nugget. It tested out at 23.5 carats. So you know it's quite high purity as well. I believe it came from Western Australia. And Catherine wore it around for a little while on Wednesday after we bought it, but she really had to be careful with it because it was heavy enough to sort of bang into the glass and things like that. So, and she was most disappointed on Thursday morning when I sold it to someone. So yeah, we do buy the odd gold nugget, and this is one of the best ones that we've had. We've had one or two that were a bit bigger than this, but this is one of the nicest looking ones that we've ever had. Another interesting thing that we just found this morning is a mint set with a coloured dollar coin in it. I think this is the 20. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure this is the 2014 mint set with the coloured dollar coin in it. And Catherine got a bit excited because she opened it up and there was a coin missing. And we thought, oh, here we go. We've got a packaging error there. So if you look at that picture, you can just see that the 5 cent is missing. We thought there was a bit of a packaging error. Sadly not. When we flipped the coin over, flip the set over, you can see that the 5 cent is actually sitting there on top of the 10 cent. So it had slipped down and to the right and was sitting on top of the 10 cent in that set. So if you know your mint sets, you would know the 2014 set is quite an expensive one. So here we've got a 2014 set with the 5 cent, which has decided to migrate around inside the holders and is now sitting on top of the 10 cent piece, which is a bit disappointing for us because that's going to be a difficult coin to sell. Now, another interesting thing that we bought just a couple of days before Easter are these two little innocuous silver bars here. So they are Australian Bullion Company silver bars. They're 1 ounce. What makes these really interesting is that they came in with the original receipts from April 22nd of April 1980. So how long is that? It's 44, almost 44 years ago. So 44 years ago in a couple of weeks. And the gentleman paid $45.10 for these two 1 ounce silver bars. So that's about $22.55 per ounce. $22.55 per ounce. And if you know your silver history, you would know that 1980 is when silver had its big run up, and driven by a couple of gentlemen called the Hunt brothers, who basically cornered the entire silver market because they were disgustingly rich. And they drove the price up in Australian dollar terms to well over $50 an ounce. And that's a price that we have never seen again. So if you bought silver at that time, you are still waiting to make your money back. Now, I don't know the exact details of the timeline that run up happened, whether these were bought before the peak or after the peak, whether it was on the way up or on the way down. But what makes these really interesting is a couple of things. One is that they are collectible vintage bars. So being from 1980, they are very collectible. They're quite hard to find. Much of the silver from that time has been melted down. So these little bars here, rather than being worth $50 or $55 each, they're probably worth $300 or $400 each because they are very collectible. The other thing that makes them interesting is that up until now, collectors of vintage bars thought that these bars really dated from 1985 to 1990, and that was the accepted date of these bars. But you can see here with the original receipt, they actually date to 1980. So these two little bars are actually changing the book about vintage bars in their own small way. So we found a bit of new information there for people with those bars. Right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about today is, and this just sort of had really a cute story to it, and this is really why I wanted to share this one with you. There you can see a 2007 double header or double obverse 5 cent piece. If you've been collecting coins for a little while, you probably know about the 2007 double header 5 cent piece. The coin was... A number of the coins were minted with 2 heads dies in the coin press. It's a little bit unclear exactly why or how that happened. The generally accepted explanation is that a mint worker did it mischievously, and the mint worker has since been prosecuted. But someone did point out quite rightly on our Facebook page that there's really been no proof of that. So we don't know exactly why these were made or how they were made, but what is certain is that they do exist. How many of them exist? 1,000, a couple of thousand perhaps. One noodler in Sydney has found 100 or more, I believe, of these, and they are mostly, or were mostly, found in New South Wales. Only dated 2007, and only with the double header on them are the valuable ones. What makes this interesting is that we had a couple come in to the shop, I think it was 2 weeks before Easter, and they were visiting from New South Wales, and they had this coin, and they came in to see what we would pay them for it. And I told them, and I did ask them, I did say that mostly they're found in New South Wales, and they laughed and they said, oh well, we're tourists from New South Wales, we're over here visiting our son. And I said, oh, okay, and what are you doing here? And and they told me the story about how they'd found this coin. It was their son that had actually found it in about 2010. He'd emptied the money box out and was making stacks of coins and knocking them down and restacking them up. And sometime during that session of making coin stacks, he'd noticed that this coin had two heads on it, and he brought it over to mum and dad and said, hey, look at this, and they'd gone, wow, that's amazing. They'd put it to one side. I think their son was only about perhaps 10 or 11 at that point. They'd put it to one side, and they were visiting that very same son here in Adelaide, and he would now be in his mid-20s, and they thought that they'd see if they could sell it and give him the money, because he's got some life event coming up or something, I'm not sure. So we gave them a price that we'd pay. They went home, they rang up the next day to ask a couple of other questions, and then they came in the day after that and actually sold it to us. So this is, I think, only the third one of these that we've ever handled since 2014 or 2015, whenever they became a thing. And the last two sold almost immediately, and this one will be appearing on the website this week probably, depending on how I go with other work. For about $2,000. I haven't settled on a price yet. I know what I paid for it. We'll make a small profit on this, but generally these things, if you price them reasonably, they sell quickly. So we don't have to make a killing on these coins. So probably this is worth $1,750, $2,000, somewhere in that range. And a lovely story behind how it was found. Found by a small boy playing with money in a money box, who actually noticed something odd about this coin. So just a great story there. Right, Peter says maybe 10,000 of these were minted. Thank you, Peter, for sharing that with us. If anyone is able to, because I did spend some time over the weekend trying to look through court cases and stuff, and if anyone is able to, I don't know if you can access criminal cases if you're a lawyer or something. If anyone is able to do a quick search and see if someone from the Mint was prosecuted sometime in the 2008 to 2011 period, then I'd love to know whether the story about a mint worker creating these is true or not. But until we have proof one way or another, it's difficult to say how these happened. Right, that's it. That's it for this week. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for taking part. Good luck with the mint release on Thursday. As I said, we won't have them any available here in the shop. We just got a very small number. These aren't dealer exclusive products, and the wholesale allocation, being the percentage of coins of items that get sold via the RAM dealer network, is quite small, and our allocation from that number is even smaller again, so we only get a very small number. And there certainly won't be any available for purchase over the counter, so I do apologise in advance for that. Now, have a great week. Good luck with the ballot, and happy collecting. Remember, it's supposed to be fun. And if you've got anything you'd like me to talk about next week, please send me a message, give us a call, or whatever you want to do. Come in and ask, and I'll try and address it next week. Okay, bye for now, everyone.